Welcome to the IDP Hunter podcast. I'm your host, IDP Hunter. I'm joined with Jamie Perogue. What's going on, Jamie? What you been up to?
What's up, everyone, man? Thanks for tuning in. We're not here for my talents this episode. We have a special, amazing guest for y'all. So, Steve, enough about me. Let's give the audience what they actually came for.
That's what I'm talking about, my friend. Hey, I wanted to share with you guys as well my Fantasy Pros rankings. It's going good. Epic's in the chat. What's up, Epic? How you doing?
Yo.
Thanks for showing up. I'm actually I made top 5 this week. So right now, as an overall ranker, I'm still in the top 3. So top 3 ranker on your hands, IDP Hunter. You got a top IDP analyst in the room, Steve Schultz. Let me introduce him. And of course, we have Jamie. You're an IDP ranker as well, Jamie, and you're an IDP offensive guru in my mind. Okay, you're top 3. Let me tell you about Big Steve, though. Big Steve is a Senior Bowl scout, so he has a lot of techniques and stuff he wants to show you. He's a writer and analyst, too. RPO Football, IDP Plus. He actually has his own site. He has his own platform for you IDP degenerates like myself. It's called the IDP Edge, and I'm going to let Steve introduce himself and talk a little bit about that. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, Steve. Hey, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. So the IDP Edge is my weekly Substack. I release articles on there, mainly previews and reviews for the IDP action from the previous week. And mainly what I do is I look at it from like a 5-position league lens. You know, there's a lot of content out there, but a lot of it kind of touches more so on the 3 positions, so your defensive linemen, linebackers, and defensive backs. And I really like to give love to the cornerbacks, defensive tackles. You know, IDP football as I think it should be. So we do a lot of articles that are very heavy on analytics, snap counts, opportunity, volume. I mean, those are things that we focus on, but we do it in a way that's really digestible, easy to read. So yeah, no, that's currently what I'm doing. You know, I write the weekly waiver article over at RPO Football, and I wanted to do more than just write a waivers article. I mean, there's so much more content that we could put out in this space.
Hey, so the other thing that I want to mention, you ready? How much does this cost, Steve? How much would a format like this charge me?
These articles are absolutely free.
100% free. I like free. Jamie, you like free? It's out there. Analytics, game by game previews, and you're having a whole red carpet treatment. You're rolling out more products as we go. I myself want to use this when you start getting into the college game. When do you start scouting for college again?
Honestly, I've already started scouting now.
Oh, wow. You're ahead of me. I usually wait till about week 14. Jamie, how about you?
Man, I usually wait till after the Super Bowl. So kudos to you, my friend.
So Epic he's already subscribing. He's down for this. Let me ask you 2 more questions and we'll kick off the show. Steve, what gave you the idea for this? What was your inspiration behind doing something like this?
Yeah, I think that the leagues that I play in, so I started playing IDP like 10 years ago. And the first leagues that I got into were, like 20 team, 32 team leagues, salary caps. Like I kind of just went into the deep end, but there really wasn't a lot of content out there. And so, 10 years later, there's a lot of content, but there's still not enough for people that like to play IDP and play it at a really deep level. And if there's any way that I can come up with content that's going to help people to play in, 20, 32 team leagues, then, I mean, that's kind of what's inspiring me here to do more five position league content.
You're not kidding. IDP is growing steady every year as we go. It's growing. And the more content, the better. Jamie, do you have any questions for Steve?
No, I'm just going to have to subscribe to this, and it's going to be part of my weekly routine.
So So I guess I have one more. Because there's so much content, like I said, tell me why. I guess this is the elevator pitch here. Tell me, or tell the audience why they would need this platform as opposed to other platforms. Like, what makes your platform stand out?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of content out there, but it just kind of skims the surface. There's a lot of waiver wire articles that will throw some names, but a lot of content doesn't actually give you the roles, the situations, like what's happening with a player, the system, like what's going on with the team and the way that they're running their defense. And I try to put all of that in an article, but make it very easy to read so that you're getting as much information as possible. And it can help you, win your leagues out there.
And Anthony in the chat wanted to know how much this cost. It is the best price ever. Absolutely free.
Yeah, Anthony, you better get in his timeshare while it's free, because once he starts popping, he becomes big time. Once he becomes famous, probably won't be, but right now for you, you get all this game-by-game previews. Jamie, I cannot tell you I'm in the car or I'm going somewhere with the family. I might not be able to catch a game. I can go ahead and read Steve's information. And Croberson20 has a good one. I know this answer. I'm going to let Steve stand in his soapbox, kind of tap dance this one. He wants to know, I know you said you're into defensive tackles and you can go deep, whatnot. Can you give CB required league intel as well?
I always give love to the cornerbacks out there. I mean, my last article, I touched on Tyson Campbell and his debut for Cleveland. We talked about Marcus Jones in New England and how he's been very productive from the slot. Cornerbacks are an integral part of our articles and what I'm trying to promote. So you can definitely find that over there.
Hey, I'll tell you what, don't be afraid of CB required leagues. They're fun once you start figuring out the patterns and players you want to go after. You got one more from Marcus Jones or Gonzo. Was Christian Gonzalez maybe? Probably. Yeah. Which one would you rather, or in a nutshell?
For me, Marcus Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, he's at least on IDP 1, 2, 3 scoring. He's the number one cornerback if you factor in return yards, because he has over 200 punt return yards. Plus, he returned one against the Jets too. So all of that stuff adds up where he's one of the most useful cornerbacks out there. He's kind of a cheat code.
So you guys are in for a treat if you can't already tell. You can always tell when somebody knows what they're talking about first couple of minutes. You're talking to them. That's why I never ask directions to Jamie. Ba-boom, you know when a guy knows what he's talking about, what he doesn't. You guys are in for a treat. I'm so sick of giving you my same streamers over and over and over again for the last 6 weeks. We're going to have a fresh face on this, Big Steve, and you're coming on at a perfect time. The way we normally do this, another question, Chap, at home. The way we normally do this is I kick it off to Jamie. He'll go through his quarterbacks, shallow leagues, big leagues, 32 team, whatever you're thinking. He'll bring it back to you, defensive line and so forth. We'll go in. I'll just jump in when I can. Epic, you're putting me to work already. The first question's free. I charge a nickel after every single one. It's like a pinball machine. I put it in. He's asking about Marcus Jones again. This is a popular name. Marcus Jones or Tyson Campbell in big play scoring?
Oof, that's a really tough one because Tyson Campbell is the 4th ranked cornerback out there. I'm not quite sure for big play if he's 4th, but he's around there. I'm always going to lean the player that is getting work in the slot instead of being on the boundary. Yep. I mean, Tyson Campbell's fantastic, but we don't know. I think he was targeted 7 times last game when they played the Steelers. And I mean, just week to week, there's a lot of variability with boundary corners and how much action they're seeing. So give me the guy who's playing in the slot. He ranges from about 55% to he's even played 100% of the snaps, Marcus Jones. So yeah, give me him.
For context, what Steve just said, the slot, right? Didn't get many targets against the Steelers because they play a 12 personnel. So corners can be very streamable. It's not like it's an absolute guy. You might ask Steve this week, he'll say this, say a different answer another week. In 12 personnel, which is what? 1 running back, 2 tight end. Not really a need for a slot corner, is there? But when you're in 11 personnel, one running back, one tight end, you got that slot receiver, and that's when that cornerback comes down and gets all those good points. So to your point, Jamie's being awfully quiet. Jamie's also a cornerback whisperer. He does the shadow coverage. He does that, what was it, the cornerback's corner over at the six-back? He's being quiet over there. He wants me to shut up and kick this back to him so he can talk quarterbacks. I'll tell you what, Jamie, you could talk anyone you want. Quarterbacks, cornerbacks, go ahead. The floor's yours, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to leave the IDP up to you guys. I mean, you guys are the top rankers. But I'm going to go with my quarterback streamers right now. So let's start with Aaron Rodgers. So if you're hearing this before the game Thursday, Aaron Rodgers, I think he's heating up again. He had a brutal stretch from like weeks 2 to 4, and then he had like a bounce back, and he's completing about 70% of his passes now. And he gets the Bengals. Who doesn't want to play a quarterback versus the Bengals, one of the worst pass defenses in football, allowing over 250 yards, 2 touchdowns per game? Here comes Aaron Rodgers, a legit, actually 2-week streamer, because he gets the Packers next week. That's a revenge game 5 that I'm getting right there. Next, Jacoby Brissett, he could be a sneaky streamer this week with Kyler Murray most likely out again. Brissett, he's coming off of a 320-yard game, 2 touchdowns. He had over 20 fantasy points. The Packers defense, I mean, they're pretty much falling apart lately, giving up 270 yards, 2.5 touchdowns per game, 2 quarterbacks. So if you're desperate on a bye week, fill in, or an injury, Brissett could be a solid number 2 with upside against the Packers. And then got to go Joe Flacco. I thought this guy was going to die, but he's came back to life for me. Wasted no time making an impact with the Bengals. He had over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, and he just had 5 days with the team. So now he faces the Steelers, and the Steelers are allowing the 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks, with Jamar Chase, and the Bengals offense, it's clicking with Flacco. He could be a sneaky week 7 streamer. Spencer Rattler, never thought I'd be saying he's going to be a streamer, but I'm putting Spencer Rattler back out there this week. Week 6 was his lowest pass volume, but his yards per attempt actually hit a season high. The Saints, they're going to start attacking deep. You got Olave, top 20 wide receiver. Rashid Shaheed's chemistry is improving. And then Rattler adds that rushing upside that we all love. So the Bears defense right now has been exploitable all season. So go feel comfortable firing up Rattler. And that's all I got for quarterbacks.
Jamie, you got 2 questions in the chat. The first one comes from Seaworth. He's asking, Aaron Rodgers, is he matchup dependent? Actually, he got 3 questions. And then he asks, who's quietly a top 10 fantasy QB despite low ownership or name value? I don't know if that's a 2-parter or not. He's asking, first off, is Aaron Rodgers matchup dependent? And is he a top 10? And then I guess the second part we'll answer it is, who's a top 10 that people aren't really paying attention to? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would call Rodgers matchup dependent. He gives you no rushing floor, so he's going to have to do it with his arm. So you need those matchups for him. Top 10 this week, Jared Goff. Is anyone putting him in the top 10? Because I think I might.
I've had him top 12-ish, so yeah, that's a good answer, I think.
Tampa Bay, Caleb Williams versus the Saints. I think I would put him top 10. But other than normal guys, yeah, like Justin Herbert's definitely in there. Fields against the Panthers. I know he had a pretty bad game last week, but I'm still going to put him top 5 this week.
Gotcha. Now this question, this is double entendre, so it's got me confused. It says, Lamar, what's up? I think he means Lamar Jackson, what's up with the injury, but it could mean, a lot of people don't know this, fun fact, Jamie's middle name is Lamar.
No, it's not.
It's Jamie Lamar Perogue, and he may just know you. Might be saying, hey, what's up, Jamie Lamar? So Jamie Lamar, if you can take this one, anything about Jackson, what's up with him?
Well, Lamar's on bye this week, so when he comes out to the bye, we'll get more info. But when he starts, you got to play him. And I think he's going to be back after the bye.
Jamie, have you looked? I don't know if you looked at your track record yet, because Steve, we do bets too on the show. We do offense, defense, whatever. Jamie's been hitting. I mean, he started last year, week 7. He hit on Janu Smith. Nobody knew who that was, and he popped. Jamie's been hitting in this chat. Woody Marks, what were some of the guys you hit on? And you were going hella deep, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. I went back and listened to week 1 of this season, and all the guys that I named are pretty much all rostered right now.
So, good.
Question in the chat: Jacoby Brissett, Mac Jones, or Wentz?
We didn't go this deep, but these guys are asking super, super deep. Your dart throws. You got a Brissett, a Mac Jones, a Carson Wentz. You got any of those as a stash, my friend?
Stash wise, I mean, they're going to be 5-week fillers when the starters down, right? Purdy should be coming back. I don't think I would stash Mac Jones. Now, Brissett is interesting because Kyler Murray, there's going to be a Call of Duty game coming out, and that dude needs to just sit on the bench, play his little Call of Duty game, hold the clipboard, and go let Brissett, because Murray didn't have a game since week 8 last year as good as Brissett did this past week.
Gotcha. That's pretty funny, man. Yeah, if you don't got anything else, we'll kick it to Big Steve. And like I said, go to town on this. This is where we talk DLs, DL streamers, DTs, even prospects you're thinking about. Go ahead, Steve. Floor's yours, my friend.
Yeah, so for defensive linemen, this week I'm loading up on Seattle players. They're playing a very porous Texans offensive line. And somebody that I really like is Uchenna Nwosu, who has 4 sacks in 3 games. Him and DeMarcus Lawrence are playing about 65% of the snaps there. And last week, Nwosu had 2 sacks, and Lawrence had 2 sacks. Nwosu had 1.5. So they're definitely heating up there, and they get a really good matchup this week. And if you play in defensive tackle required leagues, look at Byron Murphy, because he has 4 sacks this year as well. And he's also seeing about 60+% of the snaps. So I expect it to be a feast for the Seahawks.
Heck yeah. And then I'm going to add a little bit to that. When you're looking at defensive tackle, Steve, there's a whole bunch on waiver wires right now. Don't be afraid of Byron Murphy, guys. Byron Murphy, have you seen that lately? He's been lighting it up. What did he have, 2 sacks this week, Steve?
Yes, sir. And I think he's rostered in about 25% of sleeper leagues, but that's still too low of a percentage. He's about as talented of a 3 technique as you can get. And he has super talented defensive line mates too that really help take the pressure off of him.
Yeah, this is the only place where you can get defensive tackle talk, and I love it. Steve can hang with the best of them. You know who he is? He's Spider Rico, Jamie, Rocky 1. He's there throwing his punches. He's hanging in there. He's even in part 6. He's there eating at the restaurant. Spider Rico. You got a lot of hits in the chat. Let me read them all. Little Nova Cypher. She said, yeah, Nwosu's my dog. Last year, King's Classic, I got him in like the 32nd round. He was my last pick. I'm so grateful that he's now starting to pan out, but I wrote a bunch on the Fantasy Six-Pack about that dude. As long as he's healthy, airspace and opportunity. And another one we could call out, Dorrance Armstrong. My criteria too, Steve, less than 33%. As long as they're owned in less than that, I'll pick them up. Both Nwosu and Armstrong, they don't have any really competition on the edge. Speaking of edge, or the other edge, everybody knows who Myles Garrett is. You had a question in the chat from Louie. Should I be picking up Alex Wright or Isaiah McGuire? Jamie probably knows his answer. He's a Browns fan. He loves being miserable down there. He loves wearing his Browns gear miserable. Which one of these guys is the true player outside of Myles Garrett? Is it nobody? Is it Wright? Is it McGuire? Do you have a favorite in all of this?
Yeah, obviously last week, Alex Wright wound up getting most of the snaps there. I think McGuire was down around 30% and Wright was 60% plus. I'm not a huge fan of either one. I think, considering the opportunity they haven't been very productive. Both of them are around 4% owned in sleeper. So, I mean, this is for a super deep league. I would take a shot with Wright, considering the discrepancy in snaps they had last week. If you have to start somebody, and it is a good matchup against Miami. So it's a little risky, but there's definitely upside there.
So I actually pulled up the numbers while we're talking. 68% snaps last week, 51 before. Everything else was like 33, 40. So he's moving up. I think Wright's your play, guys. He got 6 tackles last week, what Steve said, but the full story, the real story is he's gotten 10 tackles in 2 weeks. He's gotten a sack and a forced fumble. I think it's Wright's job to lose. He's got matchups coming up, the Dolphins and the Patriots. The Patriots could be had, but Jamie alluded to this a couple weeks ago. Drake May's a magician. He tries to run, get out tackles. But if he gets the starting role after the bye weeks, listen to this. He's got the Jets. The Ravens ain't what they used to be. They're one of the top give it up to defensive ends this year. The Raiders, and who knows with the 49ers and in Tennessee. So, yeah, I think that's a boom pick if you got a last waiver wire spot on your team. I'm not going to talk Browns anymore. Jamie gets nervous. He gets ulcers down there talking about it. Louis had another question. So this is the second one. So I'm going to charge him a nickel. DT question. Heck yeah, that's what I want to hear. This is the only show out there talking DT. Which one's your guy? Dexter Lawrence or Byron Murphy? Which DL do you prefer?
Well,
that's
this
deep,
year
dude.
Dexter Lawrence doesn't have any sacks. He's a player that I've rostered a ton over the years. A very talented pass rusher. I've got to roll with Murphy right now. Go with the guy who's regularly producing, and that's I would go with Murphy.
Okay, one more. We'll kick it back to Jamie. Would you play Byron Murphy over Nwosu or Leonard Williams? This is from Epic. Steve, these guys play super deep leagues. This is the only show out there that we kind of do offense and defense back and forth. It's so fun, and it's almost like science fiction because waivers already happened. So these guys are just on your waivers. Who's out there? Who are you going to pick? But if you can only take one, Murphy, Nwosu, Leonard Williams, what's your rationale?
I mean, I love all the Seahawks, especially this week, but I lean Nwosu. I just think that as far as defensive linemen, unless there's some sort of adjusted scoring for defensive tackles, because some leagues are like that where you get more for sacks or for tackles for loss, then I've got to go with Nwosu. He's shown that he has multi-sack potential. And, of course, it depends on your matchup, too. I mean, if you're just looking for kind of a floor, then maybe go for Leonard Williams. But if you're looking for a high ceiling, live sack potential, then I would go to Nwosu. Go with one of the edge guys.
Okay, that's all we got. DLs, Jamie. You want to kick it back to the offense?
Yeah, I'll do the running backs. One of my favorites, Kamani Vidal. Go check out at Going for Two. I have a short about my take on Kamani Vidal. And I got a nickname for him, and I came up with Tsunami Vidal because this dude had a perfect storm, man. He just literally just flexed in week 6. He had a 72% rush share, way higher than anyone expected. Like, this isn't a committee. Vidal's the guy, and he's looking like a must start moving forward. I have him this week as my RB20. Then I'm going to go with Bam Knight. Like, Knights take over in Arizona. It wasn't as dominant as Vidal's, but he seems like he's carving out a role. You still got Michael Carter. He's still in the mix and might even be the better play week 7 because he's going to be seeing more of those targets. But with that said, Knight is the goal line guy. And with his rush share, it could climb. He's a flex play if you need him this week. But let's say by week 9, when he faces the Cowboys, maybe he could easily be that full-fledged fantasy starter. Then I love me some Kenneth Gainwell. He quietly sneaky this week because you got Jalen Warren coming back, right? Well, Gainwell's seeing a 16.5% target share all season. So both Gainwell and Jalen Warren could see starter level work this week against the Bengals, who, by the way, are the only defense giving up more than 30 PPR points to the running back position. So this is a matchup you can't really ignore. And finally, I have a dollar store bargain for you right now. Jaden Blue, go get this guy before it's too late. Miles Sanders is done for the season, which puts Jaden Blue just one injury away from being a legit fantasy starter. He's got that burst. He's got the pass catching juice that you really can't ignore and you want to stash. So this seems like a must roster situation now before it's too late. So get him now before you have to blow your load on him later. Oh, pause.
So,
that sounded bad.
You're talking about blowing loads. I'm just going to ask about this pass rusher juice. What'd you call it? This juice? Can I get it in a store? Can I get it in a can? What is that juice you talking about, Jamie?
The juice is worth the squeeze, right? For Jaden Blue.
Hey, so you got a lot of questions off of this one. The first one was, Tom, your 2 sec. Is Tyjae Spears finally taking over the Titans' backfield? Or will Tony Pollard's veteran presence come back again? What do you think about that one?
I don't want anything to do with the Titans. I don't want their backfield. I don't want their receivers. I don't want their quarterback. I don't even think I want their defense, honestly. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to shape up, but I got Pollard in a few spots that I still have to start him. And Spears, I mean, I guess you could stash him, see what happens. But he does have that knee injury, or not injury, but arthritis. So I was never really on Tyjae Spears.
Gotcha. And then Epic asks, how would you rank these RB stashes? Now, it's in a PPR if that matters to you. You know, Manga high of the Bears, Rashad Smith of the Chiefs, Isaiah Davis of the Jets. I know you're used to be high on him. Ray Davis of the Bills, you're high on him too. Caleb Johnson of the Steelers. How would you rank those guys?
So redraft PPR, I'm going to go Ray Davis. I think he has the most upside. If something happens to Cook, then I kind of like Rashard Smith. I think we talked about him a few weeks ago as a stash, kind of like Jaden Blue this week. I think he could have that. I forgot the name of that pass catcher that was there a few years ago, but I think he has that type of upside. Then give me Isaiah Davis, Monangai, and then I guess Caleb. I'm a Roshan truther, so it's hard for me to put Monangai as a stash because if something happens to Swift, I think it's going to be some type of a time split. I don't think Monangai is going to get more than 55% of those snaps.
Okay, we got 2 questions from a Cowboys fan, Fearless Sam. Now, normally we ignore Cowboy fans. We don't acknowledge that you guys are in existence, but we'll do it. Now, I'm afraid, Steve, to put this one up because anytime Jamie hears Rashad Johnson, he does that juice in his pants, that whole thing. That thing goes off. So has Rashad Johnson ever gonna earn Chicago's lead role? For context, 2 years ago, Scott Fishbowl, Jamie gave up his first-round draft pick as a charity, right? What was that story? Could you tell us that story, and can you tell us this question too, please?
Yeah, so I was all over Roshan coming in. If you look at his college career, Steve, you probably you're a scout, but his efficiency was pretty on par with what Bijan was, but he was getting like half of the snaps Bijan was. So I thought if this guy came in, he was able to, pass block, he can catch passes, work the goal line. If he got the opportunity, I thought he could be something. And week 1, his first game ever, I think he only had 33% of the snaps, and he was a top 10 running back. So that gave a little bit of promise, but he never did it again. So that hurt. But no, if he does get an opportunity, I think he could be a low end RB2 type. No, we're good with the running backs.
Okay. One thing, Steve, that I love about this show is we go deep. We talk about whatever we want, streamers, dart throws, because like we're not attached. We're not attached to just waivers. And I missed this one earlier. Viking Quest was talking about. I love this show. Well, guess what? We love doing this show. We love your cool name. That's a very cool name. Vikings Quest. Very very nomadic, you know. We're going to move on to linebacker. And holy hell, Steve, did the linebacker landscape change this week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's so many players you can just go to town on. Go ahead, my friend. The floor is yours. Tell us about these linebackers.
Yeah, obviously, Fred Warner went down with an ankle injury. He's done for the year. Tatum Bethune stepped in next to D. Winters, and I believe he had about 10 tackles, 5 solo. And it looks like he's going to be the guy going forward there. 4% on sleeper. You can get him in, most leagues. So he's definitely somebody to watch. In Cincinnati, Logan Wilson, who signed a big contract a couple of years ago, and he's team captain, lost his job to Barrett Carter, the 4th-round rookie out of Clemson. Absolutely amazing. And it wasn't just like losing some snaps or like Barrett Carter wore the green dot. And Zach Taylor said after the game, like he's the guy going forward. And this is even over, we all got excited about Demetrius Knight because he was a 2nd-round pick, right, for the Bengals. It was like, he had a huge game week 1. But it looks like Barrett Carter is going to be the dude there for Cincinnati. And he's in about available in most leagues, owned for, I think, 10% on sleeper leagues. So it's not that often that we get like full-time, 100% of the snap linebackers just dropping out of the blue in weeks 6 or 7. And this is really a gift for IDP players at this point. Even deeper leagues, a lot of these guys should be available. If you need somebody for like a really like a short-term start, you have like bye weeks, you just need somebody to throw in. With Jacksonville, Devin Lloyd got injured, and the Jaguars are going to London this week, and they've already ruled Lloyd out. He'll probably be back in 2 weeks after they have their bye in week 8. But right now, Ventrell Miller is going to be the guy there. He played a lot of snaps last year. He was kind of in that linebacker rotation. He had almost like 80 tackles and like a solid player. But just if you need a linebacker start, he's a guy that I'm turning to.
Steve, now I had a question on the other show, so this is more for me. I want to see how you answer. So there's no right or wrong question, but I was on the Twitter live show with a couple people. This was asked, and it wasn't asked to me, so I had to kind of bite my tongue. I think they answered it wrong. So I'm just going to answer it to you, and I'll explain my rationale. You guys heard him. Bethune, who's filling in that Warner role, and Carter is filling out that Logan Wilson role. Those are 2 hot ticket items this week. And then there's a couple other players, if they're available, like we just said. How would you rank them? Which would you prefer? Like, who would be your number 1 waiver claim? Carter or Bethune?
It's got to be, for me, Carter.
Okay. You are correct, sir. They said Bethune, and it wasn't my question. I had to bite my friggin' tongue. Go ahead. What were you going to say, buddy?
Yeah, no, I mean – 2 players that are going to see a lot of snaps, but Carter is going to be 3 downs, 100%, and Bethune is probably, I mean, D. Winters is a pretty dang good linebacker himself. I just lean towards the guy where I know I'm getting all of the snaps.
Mm-hmm. Not only are you getting all the snaps with Barrett Carter, he's wearing the green dot overnight, and he's in that sweet spot, the box. I pulled up the numbers. You know me, I do the Every Down Linebacker article with the Fancy Six-Pack. If you guys like snap counts and whatnot, check out my article, the Every Down Linebacker article, and I write about this. I got Barrett Carter in the top 20 this week. Like I said, somebody else was talking. I didn't want to be rude. That's their opinion. That's fine. You got D. Winters there, with the 49ers for Bethune. But the case for Barrett Carter is exactly what Steve said. You know, he's had 85 plays now. 68 of them have been in the box. 68. So, yeah, he's going to be your ground and pound box defender all day long. I'm so glad you answered that. I know I put you on the spot with that, but I was just curious, make sure I wasn't crazy. Epic got a question here. He wanted to know, how would you rank the priority of these waivers? Bethune and Barrett, we just answered, so you read my mind. He's bringing up winners. I don't want to bring up winners. I've been talking about for 5 weeks. I think that's my favorite out of the 3. Winners, Bethune, Barrett, but we didn't bring up Pratt. And let's talk about Pratt when we're finished. But anyway, go ahead and rank your 4, and then we'll talk a little bit about Pratt once we're finished here.
Okay, I'll go with Barrett, Winters, Bethune, and Pratt. If I have to rank them.
Same way.
I like Pratt. I'm happy he found a landing spot in Indianapolis. Obviously, Lou Anarumo was his defensive coordinator in Cincinnati. And Jermaine Pratt was, he's been an IDP stalwart for, us in deep leagues. He had over 140 tackles last year. I mean, he's a guy who's produced. But, you have Zaire Franklin there. He's the green dot. And I believe that Pratt played about 80% of the snaps.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a deeper league, he's a good ad. There's no doubt about it. But out of these 4 players, I would probably put him at the bottom.
Yeah, I would too. And then here's the case on Pratt, okay? Pratt was not being played right. Like I said, I write David down linebacker. I know where these guys position. They had him playing on the edge. That's not good for IDP when a linebacker's on the edge, unless you're like big play, whatever. It ruins your tackle efficiency because you're coming from an angle as opposed to being a sweet spot. He's with the Colts now. The Colts are struggling at LB2. Guess what else? His coach, Lou Emmer, he's used to him. He knows how he plays. That's why he got to come on the field day 1. Now, is he going to be a success story every week? Probably not. I'm still kind of interested in Jalen Carley's. I want to see what I got there. But he's a good waiver wire fill-in if you're in those deeper leagues. And here's another one we didn't talk. Shaq Thompson, is he worth a look? Yes, he is, Dark Knights. Let me tell you about the case for Shaq Thompson. If there's an injury, and there usually is in Buffalo, right? Matt Milano can't stay healthy. Terrell Bernard can't stay healthy. Guess what? Shaq Thompson came in. Guess what he got? 90% of the snaps. Guess what he did? 10 tackles. That's a deep throw. I got him. I'm looking at. Those are some deeper. Hey, this chat, Steve, is popping. They don't miss a trick. They want to know all their damn players. But, yeah, you can go hella deep, and you might as well throw Kiko for the Jets in there. I think you did. I wasn't sure if you did. But, that's a deep one, too. He doesn't get you a lot of ground and pound, but that's somebody you can scoop off of waivers. Steve, this is one heck of a week. Barrett Carter, Tatum Bethune, Jerome Pratt, Drake Thomas we talked about last week, Ventrell Miller, and then don't forget the Carleys, the Greenlaws, the Cashmans. They're all on IR. Who knows when they're coming back? They may be a scoop somewhere. So anyway, I think we covered linebacker pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously, Greenlaw is eligible to return this week. Mm-hmm. And I've been kind of beating the drum for Justin Sternad. He's the most inefficient tackler, but for big play leagues, he had 3.5 sacks so far this season. It's not the type of player that you really want to start for consistency, but I appreciate the work he put in for us IDP managers that had to start him. But yeah, Dre Greenlaw had over 240 tackles between 2022 and 2023. If he's healthy, and that's the big if, he's somebody that can be very productive, and he's probably available in a decent amount of leagues too, because people have kind of forgotten about him.
Jamie, what do you want to do next? Wide receiver or tight end? Oh, Jamie, you're on mute, my friend.
All right, sorry about that. Let's do some wide receiver.
All right.
So go see if Romeo Dubes is out there. I've seen him on some waivers. Luther Burton, Josh Downs, those could be some guys. But in deeper leagues, go check out Josh Reynolds. because he should see a big boost week 7 with Garrett Wilson sideline, and Garrett Wilson could be out for multiple weeks. He's got some low-end PPR appeal, not really a star, but definitely worth a look if you need some depth. Then Jordan Whittington, this dude barely made a dent this season. He only 10 catches, 112 yards on 13 targets through 6 games. But now with Puka Nacua out, Whittington is the guy that best fits that Puka type of role. So even with Devontae Adams going to see more targets, Whittington's role should expand, making him like a sneaky fantasy upside start. And then I want to go with Troy Franklin. And here's why. Franklin plays 55% of his snaps in the slot. He's facing the Giants, who allows the 5th most wide receiver points to the slot. Mims, he doesn't play the slot, maybe 20%. Sutton, maybe 15 to 20%. So I'm going after Franklin. So that he could see a nice wide receiver 3 type game. And if it all goes to plan, maybe I'll keep him on my roster. But deeper leagues, you can even go after Trey Tucker. Sterling Shepard is a good one. If you have to, Alec Ayomanor, just to see how that offense is going to run now. Keyshawn Booty. I love me some Booty. We all love Booty. And then Tess Johnson has been also getting a little bit of steam, so he could be someone you could look to add. And that's all I got for receivers. Any questions in the chat?
Yeah, Jamie, old Tommy's back. He wanted to know Josh Reynolds, Michael Wilson, or Whittington. So 2 out of 3 you just answered.
Yeah, no, I'm going Whittington out of all 3 of these. Michael Wilson's ugly, man. He might get you 6-7 points, but he's not going to get you those big games that we could possibly see from Whittington.
Cool. Hey, I don't got anything. If you don't have anything, I guess we can kick it back to Steve with some defensive back talk.
Yes, sir. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so for defensive backs, obviously we touched on the corners with Tyson Campbell and Marcus Jones. Those are some great options. But a guy that I really like, it was kind of disappointing this week, but, obviously Quan Martin is taking on that hybrid role that Dan Quinn uses in Washington. And I think you wrote about it in your article, Steve, about how he's,
I did.
all of those box snaps. It's what, 50, 60, like it's something ridiculous. It's the role that made Jeremy Chin absolutely fantastic last year for IDP. So even though Quan Martin only had I think he had 5 tackles, 3 solo, it wasn't a great performance, but if he's the guy going forward, then he's definitely somebody to look at adding.
Yeah, on that note, too, because people are confused because there's some waiver wire articles written this week. They're talking about Jeremy Reeves because he's had some box. He's had 88 box snaps, 10 and 18 the last 2 games. Well, we don't look at the overall. We look at we keep IDP within 3 days. We keep it close to the vet within 3 games because we want to see the course of action. The last 3 games, Quan Martins has 22 out of 16. So he's picking up. He's picking up that full-grown box snap role that we love, and he's got some nice matchups coming up against the Cowboys and Chiefs. You can get him super cheap because people aren't paying attention to him. So that was a great pick.
Yeah, definitely. And you also mentioned Ashton Davis of Miami. Getting 100% of the snaps this week and 5 tackles. So he's somebody that's kind of popped up. I was really impressed last week. I'm sure he's rostered, but to see Chamari Connor get, I think he hit 80% between box snaps and slot snaps. And he had a ridiculous 14 tackles, 10 solo. I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed because I was a really big Jaden Hicks guy going into this year. Like, I believe in the player. I love, his talent, but The way that Spagnuolo is using Connor is just, I mean, you couldn't pick a better way for somebody to use a safety in IDP.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. I would say too, you want to go a little deeper. Look at those Jaguar safeties; they've been pretty good. I don't. If you read the article, you see the numbers. Wingard's coming, or the usage rather. Wingard's a player that I always ignore. Wingard has picked up the pace this year. He's got 121 box snaps, Jamie. He's right up there with the big boys. He's got 34 tackles. That's good enough for a DB 2-3 stream, especially during the bye weeks. His little brother on the other side, Eric Murray, he's kind of similar. He's got 29 tackles and interception last 6 games. That could transfer as a DB 3 or 4. And if you want to go super, 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 super deep, Ronnie Hickman is outplaying Delpit right now. I don't think that's going to stay that way because Delpit is in the sweet spot. Just misses a lot of tackles, though. Hickman is not good, but he's outplaying him, so just keep that in mind. And then Kyle Duggar out of nowhere. You see that, Steve? Hawkins got hurt. Duggar's back in. He only got 4 tackles, but he's in that sweet spot. Only a matter of time. You can't go wrong with defensive backs. There's so many flyers. There's so many guys you can look at. It's not even funny. But, yeah, you got any other ones, or is that all you – oh, wait, we got a question in the chat. I answered this last week. I'll let Steve – hey, thoughts on DBs, Byard or Brisker come to life?
Honestly, I'm going to go with Brisker here. I mean, Byard's the free safety, and yeah, I know Brisker's been a little bit disappointing this year in terms of his output, but I'm always going to lean that way in terms of just, between 2 guys who I want, he's got the more ideal positioning on the field. Just
be careful because it changed. The defensive coordinator changed. It used to be he was like a 70% box snap guy. If you look at the articles, he's only getting 22% right now. The slot is where it's at. The McCords and the Kyle Gordons come back. So he's not getting much play. We all are kind of conditioned with Brisker. We're all kind of conditioned to take him as a top DB1, whatever the case may be. But that and the fact that he's had all those concussions, I'm a little off Brisker. I want somebody who's not been looking at the numbers maybe to take Brisker. I just kind of traded away him for some fob. So just be mindful of the Brisker. If you want to hold on, that's fine. Just be careful with the dude. And I know, Steve. IDP changes on the brink of a dime. It could go the other way just as fast. Anybody else you looking at, or Jamie's itching to get his tight ends and his bets on? I can see he's doing this. He's doing the Manziel.
I did see a chat question we missed.
Did we?
Brewski is asking about Mooney's injury. Mooney hasn't really been living up to what we thought he was, and I'm not going to play him his first game back. I want to see how he actually performs before I put him in a lineup. Could be a stash, though, at the end of the bench. Josh Downs, is he for real now? I think he's matchup dependent. Honestly, last week he had a good matchup in the slot. That's where he plays most of his snaps. This week, I want to say he's going against the Chargers, right? Which they're probably middle of the pack. Maybe you can get 8, 9, 10 points out of them. And then lastly, Wicks. I don't want anything to do with Wicks because he should have been the guy that replaced Reed's role. And I don't even think he scored 5 points since Reed's been out. So let's get rid of Wicks. All right, so
yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
I was gonna hit the tight ends, but if we have any more in the chat,
no, that's fine. Go ahead and go to tight ends and bets if you don't mind. Go right ahead. Just to cheers.
Tight ends. I only got a few for you. Obviously, Mason Taylor. Don't give up on Mason Taylor just yet, man. Yeah, last week was a dud, but that's life for a tight end, especially rookie tight ends. The key is paying attention to matchups, and this week's matchup is perfect for him. Taylor gets the Panthers, who are giving up second most points to tight ends. So expect a big bounce back this week, especially now with the number 1 receiving option, Garrett Wilson, out. Then let's go Dalton Schultz. He's starting to show a little bit of life. Before the Texans bye, he finally cracked double-digit fantasy points for the first time this season, and Now he draws a good matchup against the Seahawks, a defense that's been struggling to contain the tight ends all year. He's not a flashy play, but if you're streaming the position, Schultz should be a solid plug-and-play option this week. Here's a throwback to exactly a year ago, Jonnu Smith. Where's he been all year? But he could have the best game coming up this week. And I think week 1, he did all right. He had double-digit points, but since then, not really much. But the Bengals, they do allow the most points to tight ends, averaging about 17 plus full PPR points. So the Steelers really need to get like a second pass catcher involved besides, just giving it to Metcalf and the running backs. So I like Jonnu Smith this week. And then K-Dot, I think I mentioned him last week. Maybe it was another show, but with all the receivers hurt right now, Baker needs to throw to somebody, right? So Otten could see like a double-digit fantasy game. The Lions, they're averaging 13.2 points allowed to the tight end position. So we could see a decent game out of Otten this week. And that's it for tight ends. Any questions about tight ends, or should I jump right into the bets?
Go right to it. Yeah, go to bets, buddy.
All right. So I got something for the Thursday night game for y'all listening early. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over 217.5 passing. He's facing one of the league's worst secondaries. Then I got Jalen Warren, anytime touchdown. And Warren's line's 49.5. But I'm going to play it safe, and I'm just going to do 40 plus because he's only been averaging about 46 rushing yards. So let's just put the 40 plus on him. I don't normally go unders, but I have to do this one. Chase Brown under 44.5 rushing. Last week, the Steelers held Judkins to his lowest of the season, only 36 yards. And Chase Brown is only averaging 33.7 yards a game. So what makes you say he's going to go over 44.5? I'm taking the under. DK Metcalf, over 62.5. And I'm also going longest reception, over 25.5 for Metcalf. We all know they like to go deep. And then just talked about Jonnu Smith. Give me his over at 26.5 yards. He's averaging, I think, 17 a game. But like I said, he's facing the worst defense versus tight ends. So I love that. I put all that in a parlay plus 8,000. $1 will get you $80. But I also put them separate also bets because parlays are sucker bets, I also added, here's one I added, Roman Wilson over 9.5. I mean, he could get that in one catch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I got for the Thursday games. I got a few for the later games, but like I said, previous shows, these lines aren't set yet. So pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to go over them, or just do you want me to write them in the chat?
We'll put them in the chat, and any other questions we'll put in the chat too. Epic, answer your question. If it's kick return scoring, I'm going Marcus Jones first. He's a priority. If it's not, then I won't. But Jones, Battle, Burt, Byard, Lewis, Delpit, Campbell is what I'll do. That's how I do it. Jamie, you had one more thought about a tight end, Gatson. We talked about him last week, right?
Oh, love Gaston is my most owned dynasty tight end. I have him in 18 leagues out of my 30. I think he could be a sneaky play going forward. Yeah. I might have to take him off my taxi squads and some. And
you take him over Theo Johnson? Would you?
No, I'm going to start Theo.
Okay.
But real quick, I just want to finish this off with a touchdown parlay because I hit mine last week and we didn't get to do my parlay. But I'm going to go Kyron Williams, Scadaboom, Mr. Bill Crosby Merritt, and then Jordan Mason. Anytime touchdowns for those four guys.
Okay, good. I don't have anything else, Steve. I don't know if you have anything else. I just want to appreciate everybody's time coming on the show. Please check out his IDP Edge Substack. I'm over here reading it now. It's fascinating. Steve and Jamie, why don't you tell the audience at home where they could find you?
You can find me right here with Steve every Wednesday. I'm also over at Going for Two. I do a Tuesday cheat sheet where we get you prepared for the week. And then on Sunday, Going for Two, I do a start sit live show. We answer all your start sit decisions. Just drop them in the chat. We got you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Steve and Jamie. I really appreciate getting to talk ball with you guys. It's been a while. It's been too long, so just happy to be on the show. You can find me at the idpedge.substack.com, and then a couple of Twitter handles at the IDP Edge and at Big Steve FF.
Heck yeah. And then me and Steve are talking offline. We're going to do some more content off season. Off season for me is like week 14, 15 on. I start going down that college rabbit hole. So me and Steve, look for Steve to be coming back on, and we'll talk some college rookies, some scouting as well. And I look forward to seeing you down at the Senior Bowl again, my friend.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to get the mobile.
Okay. And I didn't say it earlier, Jamie. I just want to appreciate these sleeper finds you have. Do you remember last week everyone was on Haskins? Jamie was firm on Vidal, and he was right. Some leagues I got it right, some leagues I got it wrong. So shout out to you. Every week, Jamie brings his A game. So again, if I don't approve this, I just want to tell you that. Thank you for being a part of the IDP Thunder podcast.